What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson, and coming up on today's episode, we're going to check out some early takeaways from our first glimpse of some real-life football. Not rookie minicamp, but we're talking OTAs. What does OTA stand for? That's a little trivia question. Maybe we'll answer that later on in the show. But I've got some players that have had some nice storylines come out of Doe Valley as the Broncos have put together some voluntary workouts so far. Keyword is voluntary, as some people don't believe in showing up for voluntary stuff. So, you know who does? Russell Wilson. Yeah, of course the star quarterback is going to be there. And he had some awesome quotes and some awesome pictures that came out of practice so far. So let's check out what he said after just one day of practice. He said, guys, we're making plays all over today. Touchdown after touchdown and making plays and great catches. The defense was making good plays. It was such a competitive practice. It felt like championship type week in OTA 1. That's a good feeling. And that's awesome. I mean, look at the guy here. First off, Mattress Firm is not paying enough for this sponsor right here because the big-ass sticker right on the chest for Russell Wilson, the pictures look awesome. No more having to make Seattle Seahawks edits. No, he's looking great in blue and orange. And once again, Mattress Firm is honestly like the real-life Ozark. Like, whoever Marty Bird is over at Mattress Firm, they're making a killing right now because that sticker, you just can't get away from it. But I want to ask this question, speaking of quarterbacks. Who was the quarterback for the Broncos when you first became a fan? You got to go all the way back to John Elway. That's an easy answer, of course. Was it Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton, or is it Russell Wilson? Are you a newborn right now watching this show? Hope you are. Hope you'll be watching this for the rest of your life. James Palmer, who covers the NFL, had a very interesting tweet I felt everyone should see because he said, Russell Wilson said Peyton Manning has taken me under his wing in kind of a beautiful way since he arrived in Denver. They've sat down to watch film and talk together. Wilson said he likes learning from Manning. The plan is to do more in the future. We've always known that Peyton Manning wants to stay active in the NFL. I would love to see him become the commissioner one day. But if the time being he wants to be a consultant for Russell Wilson to help him grow and become the next sheriff at Mile High, fine by me. No problem. Because this is who Russell Wilson is. The guy lives for football. Last season when he missed 3 weeks with a thumb injury, he said he rehabbed 18 hours a day. I don't know if he included sleep in that equation right there, but it wouldn't surprise me if he only slept 6 hours a day and spent the other 18 doing whatever you have to do to rehab for a thumb injury. Like, was he doing a bunch of thumb wars, playing a GameCube? I don't know, but this is who Russell Wilson is. And if you're ready to watch more of Russell Wilson and actually him playing at Mile High in front of Incomplete, one of the best fan bases in the NFL, share this video on Twitter today. We've got some simple steps for you guys to follow. We outline them for you. All you got to do is click the share button. Then you select the Twitter icon. Tag me at Matthew Peter. You can also tag Dange Russ, all right? Use hashtag Denver Russ because Seattle Russ is no more. Click tweet. I'll show you some love. We'll show some love to Russell Wilson, who's having an awesome start to his career so far at Mile High, as we've yet to really enter week 1, but we're entering some other, we're entering closer to real football with OTAs. Speaking of OTAs, Bradley Chubb was a no-show for day 1, but he showed up in day 2, and that's awesome to see. I don't know if he got the wrong schedule. I don't know if he got his days mixed up, and he's like, oh, shit, I thought today was the first day. All right, no big deal, but Chubb, after missing day 1, showed up for day 2. Cool video was tweeted out by the account of him going through some drills, and I mean, Hackett wasn't very worried after the first day of OTAs. He said this is voluntary, but you'd like to see everyone show up. Like my dad always told me, voluntary means it's mandatory unless you have another commitment. And players like, for example, Kareem Jackson had his daughter's graduation, so that's understandable. But if you're just tweeting at home like someone else is, wink, wink, we'll show you soon, that kind of sucks. But let's take a deeper dive at Bradley Chubb. We're not going to draw too much away from him missing the first day, but so far the career for Chubb was an awesome roller coaster to start, and it helps when you work opposite of Von Miller. But the injuries, they have plagued him ever since. Had a good season in 2022, except, no Von Miller, so a little more attention on him. last year, the ankle injury in week 2 against the Jags, and he never really looked the same after that, even when he did return. He had that nice pick in the Chargers game, but he was never the 5th overall pick we were all hoping him to be. So is this Chubb's last year on the Broncos? He's entering the final year. Do you expect Peyton to offer him a new contract after this season, or do you think it's going to be, hey, good 5 years, let's shake hands and go our separate ways? Y for yes or N for no. Melvin Gordon was the guy who's been tweeting at home. He did a podcast on the first day of OTAs, tweeted about it, and then today when I was trying to do some really weird internet rumors, stalking, deep dive, finding out every single person that's there, looking at all the pictures that were leaked, Melvin Gordon helped me out. He was on Twitter, which no one has their phone in OTAs, so safe bet Melvin Gordon was a no-show for day 2, which has kind of been his mantra a little bit. Like, remember when he was on the Chargers and he said, I'm going to sit out because I want a new contract? And the Chargers said, bet. We have a guy named Austin Eckler, and that backfired horribly on Melvin Gordon. I wouldn't say it's been his DNA to skip out on voluntary stuff, but I'm not very shocked that Gordon is not here. I want it to be the Javonte Williams show. Like, when Melvin Gordon got re-signed, I was a little torn on it because it worked last year. Both guys were near 1,000-yard rushers. So, it may not be a fun fantasy outcome if you want Javonte Williams to be on your team because now he's got a chain and ball in Melvin Gordon, but you drafted Williams in the 2nd round last year. Clearly you expect to give him a ton of touches and feed him the rock. I don't want Melvin Gordon to take away from that. So is Gordon going to be good this year? We'll see how much he gets playing time-wise to begin with. But I want to see Williams really shine like we all hope he can be and like we all saw. Like last year in that Chiefs game when Gordon was hurt with the hip injury and Williams got plenty of touches. If you're looking for anything related to Broncos OTAs coverage, general news and rumors, and as we get into the season where we will be hopefully breaking down a win from Denver after beating the Chiefs, hit that big red button, subscribe today. That way you stay in the know for all things related to the Broncos here at the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Next OTA takeaway comes from Jeudy, who ran into some legal issues a little while ago. That seems to be resolved and smoothed over, but he was not participating at OTAs. He showed up, though, but he was hanging out in sweats on the sideline. Mike Klis tweeting out that Jeudy was held out of OTA practice today, that being the first day and continuing into day 2, as a precaution because of mild back tightness. He was an active observer on the field, going through his play sheet during the drills. Honestly, hasn't been a very ideal start to the offseason in terms of like on-the-field X's and O's for Jeudy from the arrest and his partner, we'll say, having the charges dropped against him and now some lower back tightness. It's not much. I mean, it's May. This really isn't going to change much at all when it's 3rd and 7 in the 4th quarter and the Broncos need a first down in week 3. But you just like to see your 15th overall pick have an awesome start to the offseason workouts with the new quarterback and the new head coach. So I would like to see a more dream offseason start, but it's still very early. We're not even at mandatory minicamp yet. That's later on in June. Who is wide receiver 1, though, on this roster? You could argue all 3 guys. You could make the argument for Jeudy. Makes sense, despite him having the worst season last year due to injury of the 3 players on screen. Courtland Sutton, right? He's been the most consistent of the 3 players. Or Tim Patrick, the glue guy. The guy who brings a case of beer to the party when you're running low. Like, that's who Tim Patrick is. Put the jersey number for which player you think is the true wide receiver 1 on this roster. I really need to see Jeudy go off this year. Rookie season, you saw some good flashes, right? It sucked that drop against the Titans in the first game. But as the season got on, as the season warmed up, you saw, okay, this is the making of the next Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, okay? Last year, the ankle injury after just 2.5 quarters at MetLife against the Giants, and then never really came to form after that when he returned. Here are my stat projections for Jeudy in 2022. I want to see him get over 1,000 yards. You draft someone in the first round, year 3, they should be a 1,000-yard receiver. 7 touchdowns. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed on this offense with Russell Wilson, so it's okay if he doesn't get double-digit touchdowns, in my opinion. But over 1,000 yards, 7 TDs, that's what I'm expecting from Jerry Jeudy this year. DJ Jones is the next man up in the lineup for OTA takeaways because he had some awesome quotes and takeaways from his press conference today after day 2. The Broncos team beat reporter Eric Delilah tweeting out that DJ Jones said he wants to take a step forward with his pass rush and hopes to reach at least 5 sacks this year. Pretty lofty goal for DJ Jones. I mean, if you want to compare what he did to last year where he just had 2 sacks for the 49ers, he doesn't want to just double it. He wants to double that and add some change to it at the bare minimum, which I'm all for talking big game right now. You know, set some high goals. Hopefully you meet them. And if it's not 5 sacks and it's 4 for a nose tackle, that's fine by me. But who do you think is going to lead the Broncos in sacks this year? It's been a bit of a revolving door lately, right? You've seen Chubb, Malik Reed, Von Miller all lead the team in sacks the last couple of seasons. Who will it be this year? Chubb, Randy Gregory? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Some more takeaways here as the rookies are on the spotlight now. Greg Dulcich and Montrell Washington both got their names praised by the best person you want to hear from. More than Hackett, I would say. Russell Wilson. Here's what QB1 said about these guys. These young guys, Dulcich and Montrell Washington, those guys have been coming in early. I think you all saw a lot of good stuff out here today, all the touchdowns and all the good things. The defense looks tremendous too. We're going to have a really good football team, and that's exciting. Listen, if you are Montrell Washington, picked in the 5th round, and Russell Wilson is calling out your name, that's got to be an awesome feeling. Same goes for Dulcich, a day 2 pick right here. And by the way, Greg Dulcich, he has already established that amongst all the new faces in town of all the rookies, he is the popular kid, right? He is the one that everyone wants to sit with at the lunch table early on in the school year. He is the number 1 favorite of all the rookies so far. He's got the flow. He's got the short shorts. He looked like he came out of a 70s time machine. But everyone's fallen in love with this guy, and why not? Like, I'll get drunk on that Kool-Aid. No offense to Alberto. I hope he has a good season too. But Dulcich is definitely looking like he wants to submit his name to be tight end 1 as soon as year 1 for him. Make sure you hit that big red button and subscribe if you're looking for a YouTube channel that's going to keep you up to date for the entire offseason, including OTAs and mandatory minicamp. We're going to do that for you here. Hit that big red button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later with more Broncos news and rumors.